Ladies, if you're with an abusive man, whether it's verbal, definitely physically, get away from him as quickly as you can. What you mean you leaving me? You think I'm gonna allow you to be with another dude and have dudes walking around the house in they boxers around my kids? If I can't have you, ain't nobody gonna have you. Let that be understood. I'm sorry, baby. I know I messed up. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to get a job. I'm ready to stay out the streets. I just love you and the kids. I need you. Please don't leave me. Please. You thought you were just gonna get away? I told you what I was gonna do if you left me. I told you what I was gonna do. Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again. Real Kens TV in the house like kitchen sinks. You know, oftentimes when people are sent to prison, jail, any sort of incarceration, it's really designed to break up families, to break up homes. Here's a perfect example. It was a young lady by the name of Erica. Now, out of the respect of her and her family, I'm not going to use her real name. So we're just going to call her Erica. She had been with her boyfriend 10, 11 years. You know, they had the trials and tribulations, the ups and the downs. You know how it is in a relationship. One minute you love her, the next minute you don't love her, and vice versa. And it was just one of those things. I wouldn't necessarily call the relationship tumultuous, but it definitely had its, its ups and its downs. As I mentioned, some days chicken, some days feathers. It's just how it goes sometimes. And they weren't married. They did have 3 kids together. They were relatively close in age. And, they lived together. She worked, he worked, but he hustled as well. And initially he worked, but he stopped working and, he kept doing his hustling thing or whatever. Now, she would always tell him, like, listen, man, the trips is cool. The purses is fine. All the extra money getting my hair and nails done. But I love you. I just want you. I don't even care anything about these things. You can stop today, go get a job at Burger King, Walmart, or a gas station. And there's nothing wrong absolutely with any of those places. You know what I mean? So, keep that in mind. And I'm going to love you the same. I just need you. The kids need you. We want you. We don't want you away. I don't care anything about your money. You don't have to do this. I make money at my job. You get you a job. You make money. We both contribute to the household and everything is cool. Her boyfriend, we'll call him Eric. Eric and Erica. Her boyfriend, Eric, he was trying to transition. At least that's what he said. That's what he led others to believe. But at the same time, it's hard to give his street life up. When you used to making, and I'm not making an excuse by any stretch or form of the imagination, if you will. So when you used to making on a small scale, $2,500, $3,000 a week, $3,500 profit, you get up when you want to get up, come in when you want to come in. It's kind of hard to actually go back to an actual structured job, making, 11, 12 bucks an hour. You got a point system. If you're late, you get docked a point or half a point, or if you call in, or, it's just kind of hard to really go back to that, being that you've been hustling essentially your entire life. So Eric, they went through it about that as far as the struggles in their relationship, because again, she didn't want him hustling. One night, it was morning time. 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, boom, you hear a loud noise. You sleep. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you sleep. It's the police. They came in, raided the whole place. They came deep. They had no clue that they were coming. They came deep. When they came in, they got Eric, cuffed him up, raided, basically tore the whole house up. They found, his supply that he had at the house, had a large sum of money, had a couple guns, because with drugs, typically there's guns because you have to protect yourself and, the people that you're around. And they took his supply, took him to jail, whatever. And so he ended up getting, I want to say 12, 13 years, but he got it in the state. There's a difference. The feds didn't pick the case up for whatever reason. The feds didn't pick the case up. So it was a great thing for Eric. Now, it's never a good thing to go to jail, but it was a great thing for Eric that the feds didn't pick his case up. So Eric sits in the county jail probably 6 or 7 months. Erica She's coming to see him. She's writing him letters. She's answering the phone every single time that he calls. She's remaining loyal, dedicated to him, putting money on his books, bringing the kids to come see him, doing all the things that I'm not going to necessarily say women are supposed to do. I'm not going to say they're supposed to do, but it's a great thing when you have somebody sticking by your side and that's doing these things, for you. 6 or 7 months goes past and he finally gets a bond reduction. She takes some of her money, from income tax and the money she's been saving, and he's able to sell a couple of his things that he has accumulated, during his hustling days or whatever. So he gets out on a $25,000 full cash bond. When he gets out, guess what his mentality is? I got to get back. They done took 60, 70,000 from me, and they took my work, and they took, a couple other things or whatever. So now I got to get back. I can't get out here and work no job. I got to get my money back just in case I end up having to go and spend a couple years in prison. Guess what? I'll have some money stacked up for the family. I'll have some money stacked up, for myself, for commissary and phone calls and things like that. So it'll make it less stressful, if you will, on you, baby. So I got to do this. Once again, she's telling him, no, please don't do this. We done put all this money up. We don't care. Just, we'll work it out. We'll figure it out. Eric wasn't trying to hear none of that, as so many people are. So I'm not necessarily just pinpointing Eric. We're just talking about Eric at this particular time. But a lot of people were like that. I was like that. I'm not even going to lie. I was the exact same way. Eric starts to hustle again. He's making his money, stacking his money, or what have you. A few months goes past. Eric gets pulled over. They search the car because once they run his license, they see that he's out on bond. So they find a reason to search the car. He said that there was no reason for them to search the car. And I tend to believe it because typically that's what the police do. Oh, we smell marijuana. You ain't smelled nothing. Or you acted nervous. Or you made a sudden move. So they're going to take you out of the car, put you in handcuffs. You're not under arrest. You're just being detained. And they search the vehicle. He tells them no. They bring in a search warrant. They bring the dogs in, whatever. They find some more work. Boom, back to jail. Now you go back to jail. The judge is not going to give you another bond. You're already out on a bond. Another trafficking charge. They find the work. They don't find any guns or anything like that, luckily for him. But they hit him with another trafficking charge. So now he has 2 pending cases. He's going back and forth to court for one case, and then the next day, or sometimes the same day, you have another court date in a different court for this other case. Not to mention the attorney that you paying. This is a whole new case. So I need another $10,000 to represent you on this. He doesn't have the money to do that. So guess what? Wifey she gets out there and does what she does or whatever, as far as, they got decent credit or whatever. They come up with the money to pay the lawyer for the second case. Same attorney, just 2 different cases. They're trying to get him a bond, trying to get him house arrest, trying to get him out. The judge is not budging. He has 2 different judges now. So the judges are not budging. Even if one decided to let him out, the other one would still have to agree. Sometimes, I'll say this. When you catch a case, the best place for you is actually to remain incarcerated. Now, I know most people's going to be like, who wants to remain incarcerated? I ain't necessarily say you want to. So there's a difference between what you want and what's best for you. Because when you get back out there, a lot of times you're going to go back to doing the exact same thing like Eric did because he felt the need to get back. He had to make up for all the money that he lost or whatever. And you end up catching another case. And it's like, man, if I had just stayed in jail, just waited it out 6, 7, 8 months or whatever, yeah, I would still have to do this initial time, but I wouldn't have to deal with this other time over here. So, he had a decent lawyer or whatever. He ended up getting like I said, 12, 13, maybe 14 years on both cases combined. He gets sent to prison. I keep wanting to say his wife, might as well have been his wife, but Erica was not happy about that situation whatsoever. Because it's like, baby, I'm not trying to kick you when you're down. I know you're going through some things and, you're stressed out and what have you, but we told you. I told you, the kids, we begged you, don't get back in the street. Like, we don't need it. We're cool. We may not necessarily be able to do everything that we want to do financially, but we're good. I don't care. We can work. I'd rather just work, save, get our credit together. I don't care if I got to get a second job, a third job, whatever the scenario may be. You don't need to be out here in these streets. Not to mention that it's not even safe for you to be out here in these streets. Eric was foul for even having his supply at the house anyway. You never leave your supply where you lay, especially when you have a family. A lot of times we get caught up in our selfish ways, and we this is what we'll say. We'll say, man, I'm just trying to make a better life for us. I'm trying to make a better life for our kids. Man, the kids don't care anything about that. Yeah, sure, they want the PlayStations and the Xboxes and the Jordans, but mostly they want you. They need you to be there. They need your presence. That's what kids genuinely care about. Dad, we're going to take our walk. Dad, we're going to go out and play baseball today, pass the ball, whatever, throw the football. The girls, we're going to go out. You come into cheerleading practice or soccer practice or gymnastics. That's what kids really care about. Kids are very, very forgiving. That's why if you ever spank a kid, like some people don't spank kids, some people do. If you spank a kid the next day or later on that day, the kids will come back sometimes and apologize to you, because kids are very, very forgiving. And it was just one of those things to where Eric was just not, he was in his own world, in his own mind. He had to get that money, man. He's seeing everybody else out here riding with rims. They got on the $400 concrete throwback Jordans. He has to have that, because everybody that he grew up with, everybody that he was accustomed to being around and seeing, they had these things, but he didn't. And he couldn't fathom the fact that somebody was looking at him and he's only making $11, $12 an hour. Okay, it's different if you're making $11, $12 an hour, but I'm still hustling, I'm still getting my money. But now you can't go to the strip club all the time. Now you can't go out every weekend. Now you can't just be at the mall anytime you want to and spend $700, $800. You can't do these things. So Eric was addicted to the lifestyle. So at any rate, he's locked up. Erica, she's still sticking with him, still coming to visit him. She's not very happy about the scenario, but she's sticking with him. She's not fooling with no other dudes, and everything is remaining pretty much how it's been. One particular day, well, actually, let me rewind that a little bit because I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're going to rewind back. Eric ends up getting final sentenced. And as I mentioned, he got like 12, 13, 14 years. Let's just say he got 14 years, because I want to say it was probably around 14. Could have even been 15 years. So, as I mentioned, in the state of Kentucky, in my prior videos, I mentioned this. In the state of Kentucky, you do 20%. You do 20% of your time before you go for parole, unless you have a violent offense. So he had a 3-year sentence, but all the years or months that he did in the county jail actually count towards the sentence. So let's just say a 15-year sentence, you do 3 years before you see the parole board. He had probably already done a year in the county jail, so he had to do another 2 years before he seen the parole board and had an opportunity, keyword opportunity, to get out. Just because you see the parole board don't mean you're going home. It just means that you have an opportunity to get out. They're going to see that you was out on bond and you caught another case, but I've seen them allow people to get out, as long as you go into prison and you take the necessary classes that they recommend and you're maintaining good behavior, you could possibly get out even though you caught another case on bond. It's happened to me before. So he's in prison. He's doing all the right things. Baby, I'm working every day. I'm in these classes. I'm in school. I'm doing everything that I can possibly do to get back home to the family. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you could have been doing all these positive things out here on the street. Why wait to go to prison to start doing positive things when you can do it out here on the streets? Nobody telling you when to go to sleep. Nobody telling you when to wake up. Nobody telling you when you can use the bathroom or go to commissary or go to visits or, just anything. Because prison, they dictate every move that you make in prison. Every move is dictated by the prison, by the correction officers, by the staff. She's very frustrated, but she's continuing to come and see him. It gets a little bit better because in prison, you can, it's contact visits. So he was about 2 hours away, so they couldn't come every weekend, but every other weekend, she would put the 3 kids in the car, and they would go up and down the highway, making sure that he was good, bringing, quarters. You got to have quarters for visitation. The quarters is for the vending machines. You can't bring paper money. If you get caught with paper money, they're subject to say that you had contraband and suspend your visits, maybe 6 months, or sometimes permanently. So you got to have quarters. She's bringing the quarters. They're eating pretty good, or he's eating pretty good on visit. Everything is cool. They taking pictures, but she still has to go home without him. And she still has to ride that lonely road all the way back home, 2 hours with these 3 kids. They back there fighting and arguing and getting on her nerves. And you know how kids do, you all. You know, we love them to death, but we all know how kids do. So she's having to, not to mention, pay all the bills by herself. Everything. Send him money. He's stressing her out about money. Baby, you send that money? Well, I mean, I'm going to send it, but I had to take care of this. And, baby, I understand that. But, man, I need you to send this money, man. I'm going to starve to death in here, man. I don't have nothing. I don't got nothing in my locker. I need you to send that $75, $80, $100 or whatever. I need you to send that. She's going out because of her man donating plasma. He don't even know. She's doing all of these things for her man. And he's stressing her out, as I mentioned. Whenever she can't send the money or she doesn't send it exactly when she thought that she would be able to send it, he's going off talking crazy to her on the phone and better not be nobody over. Because when I come home, you know what it is. It better not, man, send that money, man, for real. All the things I did for you, you know, help put you through school. I helped do this. I paid this. I made sure you was good. I bought you a car. I made sure your mama had... Yeah, baby, I understand, but I didn't ask you. I didn't want you to do any of those things. I just wanted you to keep a job. So they just going kind of back and forth. Now, the more that he's clocking out on her, going off on her on the phone, it's kind of pushing her away. It's pushing her away because she's already frustrated that she doesn't have her man anymore. They've been together for a lot of years. Like I said, 10, 11 years before he even caught the case. She's seeing her friends go out on dates. It's Valentine's Day, things like that. And they're all going out. But guess what? She's at home lonely. She's not entertaining any other dudes. One particular day, she's at the gas station. For whatever reason, man, they say it goes down in the DM. I think it goes down in the gas station. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, she's in the gas station, and she runs into a gentleman that she knew years back. They dated, but they never really were physically intimate or anything like that. So I wouldn't necessarily say they dated, but they went out on a couple dates. Talked on the phone, but it just never really materialized because she was into Eric, and it was just one of those things to where once she got with Eric and became official with Eric, she wasn't seeing anybody else. Tunnel vision. Never cheated on him or anything, to my knowledge. Everything was just about her family, Eric, and her family. So they ended up, they didn't exchange numbers, but these days you don't need a person's number. Why? Because everybody's on social media. So if you see somebody and you know them, you clearly know who they are, 9 times out of 10, they're on social media. Lo and behold, that's what happened. He hits her up one day on Facebook. Hey, how you doing? How you been doing? Hey, I'm fine, or what have you, or whatever. So he's knowing full well that her dude's locked up, but he never mentions that he knows. And he allows her to eventually tell him what he already knew. He never brought it up. So, they're talking. At first, it was every once in a while. Then it was, checking on you, every other day, how you and the kids doing. Then it was every day. Well, listen, man, at this point, he's aware that Eric, her dude, is locked up. And I understand if you ever need anybody to talk to, if you ever need any help on, somebody mowing the grass, somebody fixing something in the house or whatever. No strings attached. Nothing like that, man. You and I, we were friends before Eric or what have you. I respect your situation. I respect what's going on, and I would never cross those lines. Those boundaries, women like to say boundaries. I would never cross those boundaries, and I just want to be here for you as a friend. Oh, her heart melts. Now, he doesn't know. In his mind, he knows, but her heart just absolutely melts. She's like, wow, I've never had anybody say those type of things to me. And in the meanwhile, Eric's calling. Why you take so long to answer the phone? I called you 4 times before you answer the phone. Why the phone ring 5 times, baby? I do got 3 kids, right? You do know that I'm doing this all on my own. At the same time, he has no clue just to send him money that she's robbing Peter to pay Paul and donating plasma. He has no clue. Well, now the money gets tight. The weather's starting to change. It's the winter time. It's snowing. I can't make it up there every 2 weeks. As much as I want to, I just can't. So he's mad about that. He's not getting his visits. The money has slowed down to $60, $70, $80, sometimes $100 that she was sending every week. It's slowed down to where it's every other week. The letters are not coming every day. She's maybe writing once every, couple weeks or what have you. but she's still writing, she's still maintaining. And next thing you know, she allows the new gentleman, we just gonna call him Jody. You all know about Jody. If you've been incarcerated, you know about Jody. Jody's able to slide in. And when I say slide in, the kids were at, her mother's house for the weekend or what have you. And she was lonely. She got lonely. She allows Jody to come over. They kick it. They have a fine time. The first night, they don't even do anything. They just, just hang out, watch some movies, drink a little bit, drink a little wine or whatever. Just chill. They do absolutely nothing. But Jody ends up spending the night. Second night, same scenario as far as him coming over. They're kicking it. The kids are still at her mother's house. But that night, it goes down. Yeah, they did the most. Urban Dictionary, look it up. They did the most. Yeah, they did their thing or whatever. So now, she's on cloud 9. Eric's been locked up for over a year now. He's getting on her nerves, accusing her of stuff every 5 minutes. She hasn't done anything. Now here it is, Jody done showed her a good time. She's already familiar with him from years past. I'm not going to say she's necessarily familiar, but she has a familiarity with him, being that they have been involved, in prior years or what have you. So she's really, really feeling good. But at the same time, she's like, man, this is my dude. Eric, he's doing everything that he can do. She's still coming to see him. It's just not as frequent as, she once was or whatever, but she's still doing everything that she can possibly do in her power, sending him money and answering the phone and make sure the kids see him and writing them and, all of these things. But she's still kicking it with Jody. Nobody knows because she's not going to allow the kids to see Jody. Because if the kids see Jody, guess what? Daddy, guess what? Mommy. So that's not going to happen. So she's still kicking it with Jody on the side. Eric knows something is up because her mentality, like you can kind of tell when a woman is, I'm not going to necessarily say involved with somebody else, but the things that used to bother her, they didn't bother her anymore. She wasn't getting upset anymore about some of the things he was saying. He would intentionally say things to kind of, make her mad or whatever. Now she's not mad. It's more so like, whatever. So Eric definitely suspected something, but the entire time, Erica never told Eric about Jody. They continue to kick it. Several months goes past. Now it's getting closer and closer to Eric having an opportunity to come home. Even though she loves Eric, now she's starting to fall for Jody. They've been kicking it 7-8 months at this point. Not every night, but on some kind of private, even when they went out, they couldn't go out in town. So they would go to the next town over, a small town, and go out to eat or go to the movies or go on a date there or what have you. So it was really, really becoming a dangerous, potential dangerous situation. Because, yes, I love Eric, but I'm starting to fall. I fell for Jody too. So are you in love with two men? Do you love two men? What exactly is going on? Yeah, I love Eric, but Eric can't give me these things right now that Jody's giving me. And Jody knows that, so he's taking full advantage. But the thing about it, he's not taking advantage to take advantage. He's falling for Erica just as well. It's not one of those things where he's just trying to use her for sex or anything. No, he's actually falling for her. Dangerous situation. You got in a sense, a three-way, a three-way low. Is it a triangle? You got Eric, you got Erica, and you got Jody. Couple more months goes past. Eric is doing everything that he can do, as I mentioned, to get out. He goes through what's called the substance abuse program, the SAP program. If you're from Kentucky, you've been to prison, or you're familiar with prison, you know that the SAP program is like an 85-90% chance of getting out. It's an intense substance abuse program that you go through 7 days a week for anywhere between 6 months and 9 months. And if you're able to get through that to where inmates tell on you, inmates write you up, inmates hold you accountable for all your actions, if you're able to get through that, guess what? You have a pretty good chance of coming home on parole. Eric does that. He gets through. Baby, I made parole. Guess what? I made parole. So you did? Yeah, baby, I'm coming home. You and the kids or whatever. They gave me parole upon completion of SAP. So basically what that means is as soon as I finish SAP, the same exact day, I come home. He had maybe 2 weeks left of SAP. Then he's coming home. Well, here it is that Erica, as I previously mentioned, at this point, she's been kicking it with Jody for a year, a little bit over a year. She has to break the news to Jody. Jody doesn't really think that Eric is coming home that soon because in his mind, he's thinking, man, he done caught another case while he's out on bond. Ain't no way them people gonna let him out. But it doesn't necessarily work like that. Prison is about, it's a business, you know, and it's about bed space. So if we can get these guys out and bring in some more people, then, you know, if they get back out there and do the same dumb stuff, stupid is and stupid does, so they'll come back, and it's a revolving door. But it's definitely a business. Don't ever let anybody tell you that all the bad guys go to prison. A lot of the people in prison shouldn't even really be in prison, to be perfectly honest. Not to say that they're angels, but because you stole something out of Walmart, don't mean that you deserve 10 years in prison. I'm sorry. That's just my take on it. So he's not really feeling that, but, you know, he understands, he's always understood what it truly was. She was never deceitful with him. She always told him, Erica always told him about Eric from jump. So she pretty much starts to wind their situation down. They kick it 1 or 2 more nights, and she has to just completely rid herself of Jody because her man, Eric, is coming home. Eric comes home. Everything's good. They going through the honeymoon stages. Jody, he backs all the way up. He respects her. He don't necessarily respect him, but he respects her. He backs all the way up. Something's not sitting right with Eric. He knows that something's not right. He continues and continues and continues to drill Erica until finally she just tells him. She just can't take it anymore. She tells him about Jody. She tells him, listen, you know, this is what it was. I was just lonely. I still love you. I'm in love with you, but I was lonely. I didn't have anybody to share my thoughts, my feelings, my hurts, my emotions with. He was just somebody that I could talk to, somebody that was lending me a listening ear. But I rest assured we're done. Him and I have no other dealings. We don't talk anymore, anything like that whatsoever. Now, Eric knew about Jody because, like I said, Jody was talking to Erica prior to Erica and Eric becoming a couple. So he was already, you know, if you're not following me, you may have to rewind a little bit or what have you. But he was already familiar with Jody in the first place. Eric's not too happy about that whatsoever. So now anytime they get in an argument for the next several months, 6-7 months, anytime they get in an argument, guess what? Jody's name comes up. It could be about the slightest of things that don't have anything to do with cheating or anything like that. Jody's name continues to come up. Any sort of argument. It could be, man, I thought you was cooking chicken tonight. You should have told me you was cooking beef. And somehow Jody's name is gonna come up. Erica can't take it no more. She's just gotten to the point to where you have really just emotionally drained me so much. She leaves the relationship. She tells him, I'm done. I'm done. Now, in between time, Eric has gone back to hustling. So that really was the contributing key factor to her actually leaving the relationship. Because you've gone back to hustling. Everything that we've been through, everything you did 3 years and the people bless you and allow you to come home. I was there with you every step of the way. Yeah, I messed up. I got with somebody else or whatever, but I'm still here with you. So yes, I did mess up. But at the same time, I made sure your kids was good. I made sure that your kids seen you. I made sure everything was everything. And you're going to come back, and this is the thanks that we get, and you're going to come back and do the same thing, and you got all this backup time over your head, which means if he messes up, he still has that 15 years to do, which if, let me see, in Kentucky, if you have 15 years, you can probably kill that whole sentence in about 8.5, 9 years. But still, who wants to go back and do 8.5 or 5 or 6 more years, not to mention whatever new time that you get when you get caught again? He gets to hustling again. He leaves. Actually, she leaves the situation, but it's her house. So he has to leave. This is my house. First, he refused to go, but she tells him, listen, I don't want to call your PO. I don't want to call the police. I don't want to get you in any more trouble, but I will. I don't want you in my home anymore. You need to go. You need to leave. Eventually, he leaves. He comes back and forth, but at some point, he realizes that it's over, but he doesn't necessarily get that it's over. So what does she have to do? She goes and gets a restraining order against him. Now she gets a non-violent contact order. So which means you can still come around. You can come around your kids, but it has to be, you can't just pop up at my house. You have to get permission, and you can't violate that in any terms as far as being violent or threatening me or anything like that, or I can have you sent back to prison. So emergency protective order is what it's actually called. So she ends up having to get one of them because, he's threatening her, and you think I'm going to have some dude around my kids? I kill everybody in his house before you think that, a dude's going to be walking around in his box in front of my kids. So, he's going through that or whatever. She leaves the situation. Several months goes past. She's out in the club one night. She's in the club having fun with her friends. He knows that she's at the club. I'm not sure exactly how he knew, but he knew that she was at this particular club. He's waiting in the bushes on her. This is sad, man. He's waiting in the bushes. She comes out of the club. Baby, I need to talk to you. You're not supposed to be around me. Just listen, man. I'm sorry. I understand I don't hustle no more. I don't do the things that I used to do anymore. I understand that the most important thing to me is my family, you, the kids. I'm done with that. I got me a job, man. I'm doing the right thing. I'm just trying to just be there for you. I want to go ahead and get married like you always. It's too late. She's already with Jody now. Like, she's really, really with Jody at this point. It's too late. Yeah, she still loves him. That's the father of her kids. She's always going to have love for him, but she's not in love. She has love for him, but she's no longer in love. He can't take that. What do you mean? You with this dude and you just going to leave me out and change my whole life for you, all for my family? You going to just do me like this? This is what you do to me? This is how you do me? Listen, I'm done with you. The girlfriends was there or whatever. And they're telling her, come on, girl. Next thing you know, he pulls out a gun. You ain't going nowhere. All the girls, they scared. They jumping on the phone and running. Some of them's running away. They calling the police. He pulls a gun out. She's trying to leave. Hey, don't go nowhere. I'm gone, Eric. She's walking away. Boom, he shoots in the back. Shoots her in the back in front of everybody. Literally in front of everybody. Walks over top of her. I loved you. And I was just trying to, she's laying there. She's still on her stomach. And I guess she's kind of rolled over on her back now. Actually shot in the back, man. She wasn't nothing but probably 5'4", 5'5", 140 pounds at best. Eric was probably 6'1", 240, 250. He was a big dude. And you shoot her in the back? You shoot her anywhere, but you shoot her in the back? She turns over. He's telling her how much, he loves her or whatever and how she did him. Boom! Shoots her again, man. And I know his video may get a little graphic, but it's the truth, man. Shoots her again. Ends up shooting her like 3 or 4 times, man. He runs off. Police come, ambulance come. They take her to the hospital, try to revive her, resuscitate her or whatever. They know who did it because there's so many witnesses out there. So it's a manhunt for him. She's holding on. She's holding on for dear life in the hospital. They end up catching up with Eric a couple weeks later. And, they lock him up and she ended up making it. She actually ended up making it. Problem is she'll never walk again, man. She will never, ever walk again because this guy who she stuck by his side. Never left his side. Yeah, she did a thing when he was locked up, but who's not going to do? I mean, you're locked up. I'm not saying that it was right, but at the same time, you put yourself there. I'm still supporting you. You're still cussing me out on the phone and talking crazy to me on the phone and saying these hurtful and mean things to me when I'm doing everything that I can possibly do, including donating plasma to make sure that you got money for commissary. And this is how you treat me? This is the thanks that I get? This same dedicated woman, loyal woman that showed her utmost loyalty to this man will never, ever walk again. Just to explain to her kids why mommy's in a wheelchair. Just to explain to her kids why they'll never see their father ever again in life. He goes to trial. They give him, I don't know, I'm going to have to look him up. I'm going to actually have to look him up. But they give him so many years he's probably never ever gonna see the day of light again. And if he does, he'll be so old, it's probably not even gonna matter. The kids can't go to prison to see their father. And maybe once they get older, become adults, which at this point, I'm sure that they are. Matter of fact, I know that they are. But the kids want answers. You did this to our mother? Why? Why did you do this? Ladies, if you're watching this, I'm begging you, I'm imploring you, I'm pleading with you. If you notice that your guy that you messing with has a short temper and he's abusive, rather he's verbally abusive, definitely physically, get away from him. Get away from him and do everything you can possibly do. Emergency protective order, get yourself some protection, go to that gun range. No, you don't want to hurt and kill anybody, but you got to protect yourself because some of these dudes, not all dudes are like this. I would go out on a limb and say most dudes are not like this, but you got a lot of dudes that just can't handle rejection. They can't handle no. They can't handle, well, you think you leaving me? You think you just gonna leave me and be with somebody else? No, it's not going down like that. And you are not required to stay with anybody, especially if he never even took enough initiative to marry you. You all been together 10, 11, 12, 15 years and you all not even married. I'm not saying that he doesn't love you. I'm not saying anything because I understand that the circumstances sometimes you can't, marriage doesn't always mean everything. You know, there's circumstances sometimes to where you're not married. But I just really, really implore the ladies out here that are listening to this video, if you have a man that's in your life and he's violent, get away from him as quickly as possible. If you got to call the police, I'm not even an advocate of calling the police, but hey, in a case like that, do whatever you got to do to protect yourself and be here for your kids. Because some of these dudes, they's off their rockers. They're sandwiched short of a picnic. And when it comes to you leaving, and in their mind, they're picturing you doing everything that you used to do to him and for him and to another man or for another man. Some of them can't handle that, man, and they bloop out and they don't care about anything else. So just like Eric, he sit there and try to take Erica's life and didn't care that it was a whole crowd of people out there. Very, very sad situation, man. It's a very, very sad but yet true story. And I'm going to give you all an update because I'm going to find out exactly how much time that Eric got. But I know that he got a boatload of time, a boatload. Now, when he went to trial, his defense was his emotions. It was he was trying to get a temporary insanity, you know, something like that or whatever. I forget exactly what you call it or whatever. But it didn't really work because the two weren't married and the jury was not buying it whatsoever. You know, he was trying to say that he was distraught because of the emotional duress. That's what it's actually called. It didn't work. And I'm glad that it didn't work, man. You shoot that woman in her back, man, she's 5'4", 5'5", 140 pounds. You 6'1", maybe 6'2", 240, 250. You shoot that woman in her back, man, and then stand over top of her and shoot her 3 more times in front of everybody. I don't care if you all were alone. You was trying to take that woman's life. It just wasn't time for her to go yet, man. God had other plans, man. Real Kens TV. Hopefully you liked the video. I can't necessarily even say hopefully you liked the video. Hopefully it was informative to you. You know, if you know someone in this situation or whatever, show them this video, man. Not to say that I can save anyone, but just show them the video because you never know. You know, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, be sure to, you know, subscribe to the channel. Hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive, man. My heart goes out to that young lady, Erica. And I'm praying for her kids, her family, man. And it's just it's a very sad situation, and it's a travesty, man. Real Kens TV. We out.